Hi, welcome to the blog. In previous tutorial we had covered this how to register in our web page. So what will be the code of this registration we had already covered in detail in our previous tutorial part 3 MVC. In this tutorial we are going to cover login form. Whatever the user has been created through this registration form, we are now used to create a login form to log inside of our web page. After creating a login form, we will create authorization form, whether this user is been authorized for the some areas, some admin areas or not. So let's start. First of all, we need to open our previous project, this one, registered user. First we add some views for this. So the login view, we need to create some data structure of login. Here this we have user login. So whatever the fields and things required for the login, we need to create some properties of that. For speed thing up, I had already typed, and we will paste in view properties inside of this view properties. Okay, so let's copy this and we will understand in better way. So login view, we have nothing, we have just key defined, and it's a user ID integer and username as well as password. So for this properties we need to have some method which will check whether the user is correct or not, whether the password is correct or not. So inside of method manager class, we are going to add one new function to checking a password and getting a password from the user. Okay, so just copy it and we are going to paste inside of this. So this function is doing nothing. This is just checking our checking our password with the provide username, whether the whatever the username has been provided, and the username's password is whatever the password we have is returned back to the calling function. So first username comes to the function, and we are checking over here whether it is equal to our database username or not. If it is equal, then we are return back that password which is stored in database. So now we need to create one controller for the login. So let's go to the user log controller. First do this. Now we need to create one login control. So for things speed, I had already have this login HTTP post and HTTP this HTTP post and HTTP get. Inside of get we have nothing, we are just calling a view. Inside of that view the user will enter username as well as password. Whatever the username and password has been entered, it will go it will come through this function and action result and start action on this function. If we are storing, we are getting a password, whatever the login view username has been provided, inside of password string we have a password. If the password is valid, then the credential, if it is not valid, null or empty. If it is not supplied, the credential not valid, please retry again. If the password is okay, then we are redirecting to the welcome page and say home. If it is not, then credential is not matched. So this much things we had done, the very simple. And now we are going to change some things in web config file. Inside of web config file, we will change the form authentication so that the user will be redirected to the login page, not to another page. So we just add these things in our web.config file. In this web.config file, we will add inside of system.web file, system.web attributes. Side of this authentication is this, and user login, either go to the user login page is URL is this, default URL is this. So now let's start our we have to create a view of login page. So let's create a view of login page. We didn't create a view till now, so it will redirect it to the welcome page. Login page has not been found, and might be the error will come because we didn't this index page has been called. Now we need to create view for the controller, this controller. This, just we right click on the get controller and say add view, and we are going to create module view. So create and login on the basis of login, and layout page is okay, and just say add. So for things little speedy, I had already typed our login page. Just we will copy these things to our file. So this is our login.cstml. Now let's run the program. So over here, if you don't provide anything, the star, that in place of a star you can provide error message also. Username cannot be left, password cannot be left, and go to, if you want to go to the home, you can go to the home through by clicking on this. I'm just clicking on username as admin and password is same admin, and click on the login page. Now this page will be redirected to the welcome page. So the next things we are doing, we will transfer the user as per their role. We will take him into the page in which he is authorized. For this, now let's create some function and some method for this. Just we close all those things. We are going to close these all. Now sorry, we will add authorization attributes to our system. So first of all, we need to have one directory. I'm going to add one directory inside of this, inside of the main root directory. I'm going to add one directory, one folder that called security. I'm just naming little difference from the web security. So SE, not C, Q. I am providing Q, SECURITY, security. SEC, we are just by we are not giving over here C, this C, because just we want to different from the web.security and our this security. Inside of this security we need to have one file which we will override the class. For this we will override the class and write one function. For speed thing up, I had already typed this security function, so let's copy that security function. So I am just copying from here using MVC, and let's copy this and paste inside of our security CS class. First add the class. First of all, add one class, security class. Inside of this we are going to add this function. We are going to add this function, this and this one. These three functions we are going to add inside of this public class security. Now first of all, we need to have some using directives where this definition is we have stored. So using MVC, using system dot web dot MVC, one that. Another one we are going to import using security file. So system dot web dot security, these two. And other we need to have this file over here, MVC, and the generic one, model database. These all using, we need to have to inside of this. So now we will have to we need to have this class must be derived from the authorized attributes class. So inside of this we must be derived this, let's say change this name security to authorization attributes. Okay, let's change this. I'm changing this name, authorization attributes. Now first derive this from authorized attribute, first derived from what? Authorized attributes. So we will derive this class from authorization attributes, this one. Okay, in this we are going to create one constructor which assign whatever the role has been passed through the attributes. That attributes role will be assigned to the role granted, and that role will be checked through the function is role exist. We need to define this function. Inside of method we are going to define this function. So just go to the method model, go to the method, and where we need to have to define one function, that is whether the role is exist or not. So for this I had already wrote the function. So copy this. Nothing, we have nothing inside of this. I am going to tell you whatever the function is, is what the work will this function will do. Now inside of this function we get two parameters, username as a string, role name as a string, and we are connecting to the store db context, and we are creating object of that. So inside of this user login has been this structure has been, this property has been called, and the object has been created, and we are taking the user's name and first record of that. If the user is null, then nothing. If the user is not null, then whatever the role he have inside of the user role database, inside of this user role database, whatever the role he have inside of bookstore, inside of table, whatever the role he have, that role will be selected for the next purpose. So whatever the role name he have, role name admin, admin manager, whatever the role he has assigned to, so that will be stored inside of the roles, and that role will be returned to the calling function. This function is doing that much only. Now go to this file. Inside of this we are doing what? We are getting a role granted, whatever the role has been came, admin, comma, manager, comma, whatever that inside of the attributes has been passed, that will be checked, that will be came into the role, and that will be checked through our method manager function whether it is, this role has been authorized or not. If it is authorized, this will be returned authorized, that true or false. It will be returned authorized. If it is not, it will return false. So we need to have this has been already done. So now let's create some controller. Let's create some controller, two controller in home. Let's create two controller. Let's create some authorized controller. So for this I had already typed this. Let's create this. Let's understand this authorization admin. So first of all we need to have import this store management dot security. Okay, so this authorization will error and this attributes will be understood by the system. So authorization attributes have what the parameter has been passed, the admin. This will be checked, this function, this authorization attributes has been assigned to the role granted through this function, through this controller. So admin has been assigned to the constructor of security, the security authorization file. Now this file will call if authorize the admin only. If it is, this function is for only admin can invoke this function. If not, this function can invoke by the unauthorized. So we need to add to view also. So just add admin view without template. We have just added it, and for little beautification we just add some name and username and all. So we just paste that, and in home controller add one other view for a unauthorized user. So unauthorized user is also, let's copy this and paste to the system. Let's run the system once again. Let's run the system once again. So let's say login page. Let's run login once again, and we will try to log in with the authorized and as well as unauthorized user. So let's first see in database. We have user ID 4, which is not admin. So user ID 4 is not an admin. So who is user ID 4? Let's go and search for that. That will also add test 2. Okay, now let's start our system. So first of all, we'll go to the admin. Okay, admin. So login. This will redirect to the admin page, logout page. Now we type as admin only. So if he have permission, then this page will be displayed, otherwise it will display unauthorized page. So first it will check whether this admin user is authorized for admin page or not. If it is not, it will redirect to unauthorized page. So let's see what happened. This partial we didn't implement this till now. We will implement this later on. So just first we will comment this. Now to the login page. Basically that was the page which I am going to display for the next video session, in this video session only. Now try to log in with the test and login. So welcome test 2. Now if he wants to try to load admin page, what happened? Let's see. Admin only. If he wants to try to the load admin page, he will be redirected to not authorized. Hi test 2, you are not authorized for the test for this page. Back to the main. Let's say logout, and logout page we need to design logout page also. So first we will design it. Login. Now let's log in with the admin page. Admin. Now try to search for admin only. This time what happened? Hi admin, you are authorized for the page. Now in this page we will design our admin work. Our admin works. We can define a role different in a different way. We can define this as, you can say admin, or you can say staff, or HR, PR, HR, whatever you have role inside of your this, and which method will be created, which method will be fired by the which user. So in this time we have only taken admin, and you can just take as the next one as comma. You can say if you have two user can achieve this, so you can this comma and say manager, if it is manager, and then again comma, whatever the next you have, you can pass over here. Okay, now we will move to the next phase. So in that we will display whatever the detail has been entered. For that detail we will do edit and delete page for the display and for the stored registered user. For this we will discuss in our next video. Thanks for them. And in next video we will discuss how to edit through the admin privilege, how we will provide admin privilege that the admin can only edit username, user password, or whatever they have, only user admin authority can do that, and without admin authority no one can edit or delete the user detail. So the next video tutorial we will cover these things for them. Till now, bye, have a nice day, thank you.